Hi, this is Randy Brown for NLP Ultra, and we are going to be learning the Ten Commandments using the link system and the substitute word system. Now, what the link system is that you take two objects and you take two things that can be visualized, and you link the first to the second to the third, the fourth to the fifth, and so on and so on and so on. Now, the images have to be ridiculous, because if they're not ridiculous or lewd or violent or like crazy or insane, you won't remember them. Because you can't remember normal things. You know, like if you were trying to remember, oh, I want to keep my paper, I want to keep my paper by the lamp. If you just thought of the paper and lamp, that wouldn't spark a memory in you. But if you said, okay, I'm going to imagine putting my paper by the lamp and the lamp is pointing down on it and it's burning it up. That's a ridiculous image, and that is much more likely to stick in your mind than just, oh, I put the paper by my lamp. Okay? And then we're going to be using the substitute word system. What that is that you think of a word, and then you think of something that rhymes with that word to trigger your memory. So here we go. Okay, the first one is Zeus. And the first commandment is, thou shalt have no other gods before me. And Zeus is another god. So when I think of Zeus, I think, okay, he's another god. He's not Jesus. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. All right? And the next one, and like I said, there are many different versions of the Bible. I'm going by my own paraphrase version, because there's some that say thou shalt not bow to any engraven image. There's some that say thou shalt not bow down to any false idol. There are some that say thou shalt not covet, and there are some that say thou shalt not envy. But like I said, I'm using a paraphrase version, and whatever version you're going with, you can just remember this pretty easy no matter what. So Zeus is the first one, thou shalt have no other gods before me. And then the second one is thou shalt not bow down to any engraven images or false idols. Now for this one, I picture Billy Idol, okay? And Billy Idol reminds me of idols, and the second commandment is thou shalt not bow down to false idols. But what we need to do here now is we need to link Zeus to Billy Idol in a ridiculous way. Maybe Zeus is throwing a lightning bolt at Billy Idol and his guitar explodes. Okay? The third commandment is thou shalt not use the Lord's name in vain. Alright? Now we need to connect the second thing to the third thing. So maybe Billy Idol, he did that song Dancing with Myself. Maybe he's looking in the mirror and he's being very vain. Get it? So Zeus zapped Billy Idol. Billy Idol is looking in the mirror, which is very vain. And vain is the trigger word that reminds you of thou shalt not use the Lord's name in vain. Okay, fourth is honor the Sabbath and keep it holy. Now, I could just picture the mirror that Billy Idol is looking in turning into the singer from Black Sabbath. And when I think Black Sabbath, it makes me think Sabbath, which makes me think of thou shalt honor the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Okay, you with me so far? Okay, next up, after honor the Sabbath and keep it holy, is thou shalt honor thy parents, and all thy days will be long. Honor your mother and father, and all thy days will be long. So, for this one, I know a guy who used to say, oh, that's one bad mother father. But let me see if I can think of a better one. Just picture your mom, getting pissed off at the lead singer of Black Sabbath. So when you think of your mother, I'm going to think of my mom, Kathy. When I think of my mom getting pissed off at the guy from Black Sabbath, I think, my mother, she doesn't want me to go see Black Sabbath, so I'm honoring her. So when I think of my mom dissing the Black Sabbath guy and telling me not to go see him, I'm honoring my mother and father, and that's number 5, honor your mother and father. So, 6. Number 6 on the list is thou shalt not murder. So I just picture somebody trying to murder my mom, but not being successful. And that's thou shalt not murder. And then the one after that is thou shalt not commit adultery. So I picture the guy from Scream trying to murder my mom, but then, like, the guy from Scream commits adultery with Courtney Cox. You know, and she cheats on her husband, whoever the guy was. So, okay, we went from thou shalt not murder to thou shalt not commit adultery. Okay, the next one up is steal. So I just picture the adulterer stealing somebody's wedding ring. Alright? And the ring is made of steel. Get it? And steel triggers thou shalt not steal. Okay? And then, like, maybe he got caught for stealing and he lied in court. And that brings us to the next thing, which is bearing false witness. Thou shalt not bear false witness. And he said he didn't steal the ring, so he is bearing false witness. And then the last one is thou shalt not envy or covet. Okay? When the guy is lying, maybe he coughs. He coughs it. Like, coughs it reminds you of covet. And the trigger word for thou shalt not covet is thou shalt not cough it. Okay, so you see how it goes? See how it goes here? Now I'm going to go backwards and forwards through them really fast, alright? Here we go. Okay, the last one is thou shalt not covet, because he was bearing false witness, and he stole a ring because he committed, he was a thief, and then he stole the ring because he committed adultery with a woman, and he committed adultery with another woman and tried to murder her. Thou shalt not murder. And then it was my mother, so thou shalt honor thy mother and father. And then 4 is my mom didn't like Black Sabbath, so that's honor the Sabbath day and keep it holy. You know, and then my Black Sabbath guy, brain fart, he was very vain, and the guy who was vain was Billy Idol. Thou shalt not bow down to any graven idols or false images. And the last one is Zeus, and thou shalt have no other gods before me. So there you go. And you don't have to use the connections that I use. You don't have to use the pictures that I use. You know, you can come up with your own ideas, and it's actually better if you come up with your own ideas and your own connections rather than use the ones I do. Because, I mean, the ones that I use are for me because they're my ideas. Now, when you think of an idol, you might think of Mooby the cow from Dogma. You might think of a big, giant golden calf. Or for vain, you might think of an actual vein, or a van, which sounds like vain. Okay? So, and I'm going to go through the 10 Commandments one more time, straight through. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not bow down to any graven images or false idols. Thou shalt not use the Lord's name in vain. Thou shalt honor the Sabbath day and keep it holy. Thou shalt honor thy parents, and all thy days will be long. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness, and thou shalt not envy or covet. So in 10 minutes, we managed to memorize the entire 10 Commandments. You know, it's not that hard. A list of 10 things isn't really much of a challenge for me. You know, I mean, something that was, what would be a real challenge, and I might go over this, are the books of the Bible. And but that's for a later video. And I'd like to say thank you for joining me on this. Sorry I had a brain fart, but there you go.